Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's my TV show recaps where I do recaps on TV shows on Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, and also trending topics. If you're interested, please subscribe to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about the Bravo show, Kandi and the Gang, which centers around Kandi's Atlanta restaurant, OLG. Now, for starters, I would like to say that I really like the outside of the restaurant. It gives off a casual southern dining feel, which I think goes along with the theme of the restaurant, which is kind of like home cooked meals from your aunties. So, from what I see on Yelp, it's supposed to be really simple dishes such as salmon, fried chicken, collard greens, mashed potatoes, and also mac and cheese. These are relatively simple meals that I feel like people in the Atlanta area will really gravitate towards. But at the end of this review, I'm going to read you guys some of the Yelp comments regarding the service and also the food at the restaurant. So make sure you stay tuned for clips of some of, I think, the most memorable Yelp comments on the OLG Yelp page. So right when you open up, there's drama. So apparently the OLG lost its general manager, and I think that's why they initially failed their inspection. Now currently, I think that the OLG has a C rating, and I don't think that's a good look for a restaurant. So anyways, they cut into the theme song of the series, and it's Kandi singing. I'm not even gonna try to sing it, but she says, "Don't you want to go where strangers become family over fried chicken?" And I was like, It's totally reminiscent of the Mary J. Blige McDonald's commercial where she jumps on a counter singing about fried chicken and lettuce. That cracks me up to this day. So we cut to the scene of Kandi and Todd driving to the restaurant. It's about 90 minutes before opening time, and they're just having a conversation on their way there, talking about how, they used to be there all the time at the restaurant, and now there's no new leadership since they have lost their previous GM. And I was just like, if you hire the right person from the start, you don't need to be at a restaurant or at your business all the time for it to run smoothly. Now, I do agree that sometimes you do have to check in and pop in on your business, but if you hire the proper staff and you pay them properly, you don't need to be there all the time. So while they were talking, they also said that they had lost their GM about a year ago. So this would mean that the restaurant had been open for a year plus without someone that is a general manager. So obviously the staff is doing whatever, and now they've hired this guy, Philip. He is supposed to be the new director of operations. His title also says he's a ball buster. I just think he's a micromanager. That's what I think he is. He's breathing down the staff's neck, and it's just gonna create a recipe for disaster. So he introduces himself. He says that he's a very strong-minded person, and people always tell him that. He also says people ask if he's in the military. Well, I really don't care. All I care about is how beat his face looks in this confessional. I mean, my guy has a lighter concealer under his eyes. His eyebrows are done, and his contour is popping. Now, I do know that men wear TV makeup, but this particular makeup looks very beat. Not even 5 minutes into the episode and he's already shirtless. I'm like, go ahead, girl. So the next scene, we have Don Juan. We all know Don Juan from The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Candy Coated Nights. He's literally Candy's right-hand man. But my question is, why do they have their ages on the screen? Like, why do we need to know if Don Juan is 38 or 48? I mean, I don't care. So Don Juan, Phil, Kandi, and Todd are in a closed meeting at the restaurant where Don Juan reveals that, the staff thinks that Phil is here to work on menus. Just a side note, I hate it when managers spring up other new employees on the staff. So we move on to the first staff member that they introduce us to. Her name is Chandrika. So she's the original host at OLG. She's been there for about 4 years. So her job mainly is to greet guests and also usher them to where they're supposed to sit at the restaurant. She's the most combative staff member in that she's really opinionated and she doesn't want to take direction from anyone. I actually went on Yelp to see if Chandrika had reviews on her service, and she actually did. There were a lot of comments on Yelp talking about Chandrika and how she had a bad attitude. Some comments even talked about like her hair, her wig, and her eye contacts. So my main question is, if there's a problematic staff member in an organization and that staff member is kind of infamous on Yelp, why is that staff member still working at your organization? So next we have Dominique. She's originally from Miami, Florida. She is the bartender at OLG, and her side hustle is being a professional dancer. She's actually danced for, I think, Megan Thee Stallion, and they showed a couple of her moves and she seemed pretty good. I also went on Yelp to take a look at Dominique's reviews, maybe if any customers maybe had reviews on her, and they actually did. A customer said that she was really nice and that she uplifted the vibe at OLG. So I feel like she's going to be a good cast member on this season. So next we have Brandon from Queens, New York. He's the manager or interim manager. He's also the workplace flirt, aka harassment, aka where's HR. One thing about these Atlanta men is that they stay in the gym. They keep that body right and tight. It's almost like they're kind of moonlighting in the day as like regular workers, but at night they're strippers. So when they lost their GM, Brandon and his muscles stepped in, but he had no official training in managing a restaurant or a staff. So my question is there a GM shortage in Atlanta? Why couldn't they just hire another GM? Like, how long does it take to hire a restaurant GM? I'm sure if you put your application or your job description out there on Indeed or LinkedIn, you should be able to find a GM for a restaurant as popular as OLG. So Todd says Brandon brings good energy. I mean, last time I checked, we're not operating a yoga studio. I don't care about energy. I care about results and making sure that your restaurant doesn't fail a health inspection test. Guys, can I just talk about Kandi's hair in this confessional? She looks like a Whoville character. I mean, who did this to her? She's such a beautiful woman and her hair is always on point, but this look right here is not it. So we finally get to see the queens of the OLG, Aunt Nora, Kandi's mom, and Aunt Bertha. And the producers asked them if they really consider themselves a gang. And Aunt Bertha was quick to say, nope, we go to church every Sunday. Aunt Bertha is just such a hoot to me. She's so funny. I can't believe she's 80 years old. Aunt Nora is about 82 and Kandi's mom is 72. The fact that these women are all over 70 and two are over 80 and they are still so sharp is just so refreshing and it's so beautiful to see. So they're introducing Philip to the staff as the new GM, and already Philip is doing the most. You can see that Chandrika has an attitude. And I feel like here she needs to calm down. Not only is she in front of the new manager, she's also in front of the owners of the restaurant. She needs to exercise a little bit of decorum and reservation in how she handles herself in front of such important people. So at this new staff meeting where, Phil's just getting introduced and really his purpose or the purpose of this meeting should just be to touch base with the new staff, get to know people, kind of get the feel of how the staff is. Phil decides to just go off saying that, it's either you get with the way I manage people or you get out. I'm just like, bruh, like, chill out. This is not what you should be doing at the first staff meeting. You're coming on way too strong. And sometimes when a manager comes on too strong, they might actually get their staff to turn against them and kind of start a revolt. So Kandi wants to host an OLG reunion. To me, this is just a ploy to sort of get the old staff back together, or should I say the cast that she wants on the show, sort of like get them introduced and get them back working at the restaurant. Anyways, as they're still in this meeting, the camera pans to the outside of OLG and the timer says 6 minutes until OLG opens. And I'm like, what the hell are you guys still doing talking at a meeting when you have about 5 minutes to open up the restaurant? So Messy Don Juan calls Chandrika and Phil to the side. All of this is still going on while people are waiting outside and there's like 5 minutes to open up the restaurant. But anyways, Don Juan calls both of them to the side to try to get to the bottom of their beef. So Philip is going back and forth with Chandrika. She's being rude, he's being rude, and he proceeds to say that, this is the exact kind of situation he doesn't tolerate. He doesn't tolerate the going back and forth with hourly employees. I was like, why did he have to call her an hourly employee? I mean, it's the fact she's an hourly employee, but that statement was sort of petty and rude. To be honest, I feel like Phil is jealous of Chandrika. So it's the day of the OLG reunion and we're introducing a new cast member, Torian. He's from Atlanta. He used to be Kandi's events manager and he brings the fun to OLG. They show a couple of clips of him sort of organizing parties, I guess like Taco Tuesdays at OLG, and he seems like he really knows what he's doing. I feel like I'm gonna like this character. He says he's always had great taste, and I have to agree. I like what he's wearing in the confessionals, and I think he is, for now, one of the best dressed guys on the show. And the family reunion has started and people start to come in. And I can tell you guys, it is Atlanta Fashion 101. Stretch pieces, tight clothes, clunky heels, bright colors. I mean, if this is your style, Chandrika goes on to say that, this is Atlanta. Even if, they're partying at a parking lot, they have to dress to impress. And I was like, where's the dress to impress? I don't see anything impressive. So Dominique calls Brandon over to sit next to her. And I guess there's some sexual tension between Brandon and Dominique. They kind of give each other flirty eyes. And I was like, Brandon, aren't you Dominique's manager? You shouldn't be, in a sexual relationship or a flirtatious relationship with someone that is your subordinate. It could lead to sexual harassment lawsuits. So in the real world, this is a no-no. So next we have Brian. He is from LA. He has a food trucking business and he comes to the event, the OLG reunion, passing out his flyers. And I was like, oh my God, this can only happen at a Kandi event. But his food truck is, I think, a soul food egg roll kind of concept, and that sounds really tasty. The other memorable thing about Brandon is that the hair on his head is actually a toupee or a wig. I found that pretty interesting, but hey, this is Atlanta. I feel like everyone in Atlanta wears lace fronts. So next we have Rashad from Baltimore. He's the host over at Blaze, and he's also described as the resident overdresser, kind of like overdressed to impress. His fashion sense is kind of Atlanta, it's kind of like the South. It's really tight waistcoats, shoes with no socks, buttoned up lace collars. Everything's just really tight. I see what he's going for and I commend him, A, for effort. But he, as I mentioned, is a host at Blaze, but he's moving to OLG to help the staff over at OLG. What I also noted is that he's also going to be making less money with the move to OLG, which to me, it's like, why would you move work and make less money? I guess that they're all kind of banking on being popular on social media. So the move from Blaze to OLG might actually be a smart move if you want to grow your online presence, since the show is being filmed at OLG. The OLG reunion, and Rashad is actually at OLG already. He meets up with Phil and Phil tells him that you're going to be a host along with Chandrika. And it's like, where is Chandrika? It's 6 minutes till opening time at OLG and the host is not even there. Come to find out that Chandrika is a whole 10 minutes away in traffic when the restaurant opens in 6 minutes. Chandrika finally arrives, and Rashad finds out that they don't even have iPads at OLG. So they manually like write down guest names and take down their information on pen and paper. It's like, how much is an iPad? Like what, $300, $400? Kandi should be at least in the middle of rush hour get an iPad for her restaurant. The power cuts out. So they don't have electricity in a restaurant in Atlanta, and everyone's hot, everyone's sweating, it's dark, the cash register, the credit card reader is not working. If I was a customer, I would have just ran out of the restaurant. Like, y'all are not about to have me sitting here, melting in a restaurant because you guys don't have a backup generator. So they asked Todd, why don't you guys have a backup generator? So guys, that's where Kandi and the gang ends. I actually really like the show. I feel like they have assembled a good cast of characters. Chandrika, Dominique, Rashad, they're gonna all bring the drama. I'm gonna stay tuned and continue watching, and I hope this turns out to be a very successful series for Kandi. If you enjoyed this content, please give it a thumbs up, share, comment below, and subscribe to the channel.